What's up, everybody? Welcome into another DM rehab video. So today, I promise we're not talking about golf. We're going to go to the problem that ails the most people from day to day. Probably greater than 50% of what comes into the clinic is low back. So what we're going to show today is an exercise that if you've been to PT, I bet you've probably been given it before. Chances are the therapist or aide or assistant showed you it. They may or may not have done it correctly and did or did not tell you how to do it correctly. So we're going to dive into one of the most simple exercises you can do, why it is helpful or why it can be potentially hurtful. So let's dive right in. Before we go into the exercise itself, I'm going to go into a quick biomechanical lesson of the body. So the way your body works is in alternating segments of mobile and stable joints. So let's start at the ankle. We're just going to do the lower half for today. Ankle is mobile, moves around quite a bit, a lot of different degrees of motion. Knee doesn't do much, just bends and extends. Hip, mobile, lots of degrees of motion. Lumbar spine is stable, and that's where we're going to stop it for today. It'll keep going up the spine. That'll be for another day. So when we start this exercise, you're going to notice that I tilt my pelvis a little bit. So that's essentially keeping my core tight, locking my back so it doesn't really have the ability to rotate because it doesn't want to rotate. Your hips should be doing all the motion here. So you'll start, see it right there. I rock back, core's engaged. And then what you're going to do with the lumbar trunk rotations or lower trunk rotations is just, it should be all the hips. You feel like your belt buckle, if you will, is pointed at the ceiling at all times. Now your hips are going to come up off of the table a little bit. That's okay. I'm going to show you what is correct and then what is not correct. So to start is going to be correct. So this is good. Primarily everything's staying down, just the hips are moving. That's what you want it to look like. And then as we go further, this is not correct. So you don't want your whole body rolling off the table there. I'll show you the other way. You don't want everything coming up. Your back's moving with it, even into your mid back a little bit. And I've seen people do this quite a bit to start. And you need direction and cueing. That's why you're there to see a doctor of physical therapy, and you're not just exercising on your own. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to come see us. It should be skilled, it should be guided, and it should be correct. All right. Otherwise, if you're not doing things correctly, you're not going to get the results that you want. I'm not going to get the results that I want as a physical therapist. All right. So that is incorrect. Honestly, when I did this, I tweaked my back a little bit and it was actually painful. So we'll go back to how it should be. So that is correct. That is correct. There's going to, like I said, a little bit of motion is going to be there, but not a ton. All right. And that is that. So if you're having any back problems, you may have had this exercise. You might be doing this exercise at home. But if you're not doing it correctly, I can promise you that you're not going to get the relief that you want. If anybody is having back pain out there, give me a call. Come see me. We go through a free screen, and we'll get you back to where you want to be. All right. See you next video.